COVID, so I had to go into quarantine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I actually had COVID once, and it was like in February and March 2020, right when everything started. I was really sick for like a month straight, but it was before they were testing for it. Anyways, if I did have it and it felt the same as that, then I understand, because I literally slept for like a month. But it also, like, it comes and goes. Like, you'll feel real sick and then you'll feel better and you'll be like, okay, maybe this is going away, and then it comes back.
The interesting thing was, while I was in quarantine, it didn't even feel like I had COVID, because, like, a lot of people say, and maybe that's because I got the vaccines, but I've heard stories where it's like, oh, I lost my sense of taste, I lost my sense of touch, not touch, I'm sorry, sense of taste and sense of smell, and, like, various other things.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at myself because I just finally pressed record. I'm so out of practice. Like, I got us to record, and I didn't realize that it says Girl Talk on there, because there's another show called Girl Talk. So, yes, if you notice on the video that it says Girl Talk, my bad. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, so you tested positive, and like you're saying, man, it's going around everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Especially with the holidays just happening.
Oh, yeah.
We have a story coming up. If you're new to Split View, first of all, what an interesting time for you to join in. But we do this thing every week, normally at 3 o'clock, and there's a story behind that as well. There always is. But
we're on Kramer time.
Yeah, something like that. We do the show when we can. It's definitely every week, every Tuesday, around 3 o'clock-ish. And the best bet, I always tell people, is to check out our Facebook page. It has the newest information. And now check out that YouTube page. My situation, like, I've been fine health-wise the past couple months. I've been in a weird mood. Kind of depressed, honestly. Like, I deal with seasonal depression. So, like, when the sun's not out and winter first really starts hitting, I always just kind of get in a low mood.
Okay.
And just don't feel much energy, don't feel like doing anything. I've just been blowing stuff off the past couple weeks. I didn't even really want to come in today, but I knew I haven't been on for so long, and I knew it would kind of get me up and going, and it would be a good idea.
And once I messaged you that, like, hey, I tested negative and I'm back in.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I had my fingers crossed that you were going to say, oh, I can't be there today, but you were, so I figured I might as well be as well. And now I got the Kramer personality on, so everything's fine. But I've just been in a weird mood. Then today, I wake up, and when I wake up, I sleep with earplugs in. And, like, for the first 15 minutes after I wake up, it's pretty much like I'm still asleep, like I'm half conscious. It takes me a little bit to fully come back. And I woke up this morning, I'm like stumbling around, dark, there's no fans on, and it didn't even click in my mind that anything was wrong. Like, I went out to the living room and tried to turn the TV on, and I was sitting there pressing the button. And Jane, my girlfriend, has a day off today, so she's sitting on the couch like, Jeremy. Huh? Oh, hey, the electricity's off. Well, I think I've told you, wow, that microphone just moved itself. That was weird. I think I've told you about how the house is being sold that we live in, we rent out of. Well, apparently, the dude who used to own it decided to turn the electric off because the new dude's supposed to put it in his name, but he didn't tell anybody.
Oh, wow.
So we had to make a bunch of phone calls, and we were without electric for like an hour, and it's one of these situations where your life is ideal in some ways, and like with any situation, I think there's some good, some bad. And I know, like, you do eventually want to go out and have your own apartment and stuff. But whenever you have your own apartment, it's like there's always a problem. There's always something happening.
Yeah.
And there's always some responsibility, you know. It's a trade-off. You get independence, and then you get the bull that comes with it. But anyways, that's why I'm so late today. Today. I mean, who knows what tomorrow reason will be.
I mean, last week, it was funny. We were planning on doing the show, but my dad and I ended up getting tickets to go see the Harlem Globetrotters at 2, and Kramer over here messages me right as I'm getting out the rapid, like, hey, I'm going to go in and do the show. I'm like, I'm on the rapid to go to Tower City and go see the Globetrotters, so that ain't happening.
Yeah, what was that, like a Christmas present or something?
No, it was just a spur-of-the-moment type thing.
Yeah, I just never heard you even mention it, and all of a sudden, you're at a Globetrotters game. Not
Yeah.
that I know everything about your life, but
It was a bit of a dud, actually.
I mean, it's the Globetrotters.
No, but usually, like, the Globetrotters are great, and, like, they're usually, like, performing all these tricks and
I've never actually been to a Globetrotters game, but I know the idea.
Yeah, like it's a show and all that.
Yeah.
And, like they do all these amazing basketball like maneuvers,
And a lot of them are like former players, aren't they?
I believe so. Or some of them
People who played like in Canada or other
something like that, or they didn't quite make it to the
couldn't
NBA.
quite make it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's supposed to be a whole comedy show, and at times it just felt kind of like a regular basketball game. So that was a little bit disappointing, but still.
Yeah, if you want to see a regular basketball game, you can just go watch the Cavs, who are doing great lately.
I know. Better than the Browns.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads me into my next topic, and we don't try to talk too much sports on here because we have a whole other show that covers sports that Josh and I are on. So what's the catch?
Which we will be back with that hopefully tomorrow, back in the All Sports Cleveland studio after doing StreamYard episodes back to back, which I think you said you couldn't do because
No, my phone wouldn't work with him. My phone's like an old school Android, and I don't have any kind of computer with any kind of webcam. So yeah, that did not work for me.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be back in the studio tomorrow.
I hope so too. I do enjoy doing that show, and it gives me a time to vent. But I'm going to take just a moment to vent here. Like I said, we don't normally try to do sports, but this is another moment where it's almost transcends sports. Like the game that happened last night was a disgrace to Cleveland. Period.
Yeah.
If you're a Clevelander, you should be ashamed.
I mean, Baker Mayfield got sacked 9 times.
Every facet of that game, we were bad. We weren't good on special teams. We weren't good on defense. We weren't good on offense. The coaches sucked. I mean, it was just bad. Baker's
not even going to play next week against Cincinnati.
I'm glad.
He's getting the surgery.
I'm so glad. And on the ride up here, I was kind of thinking about this because I don't want to get too deep into this, but just for a moment, let me vent. I need to.
All right.
When it comes to Baker Mayfield, I've supported him for so long, and I'm done with that. Like, I want him gone. And when it comes to, like, this injury even, I don't think, like, the way we've seen him play is his best playing. I think after he gets healed, he could come back and be better. But the fact that he forced himself to be the starter and went through this season, to me it shows a lack of leadership. Like, as a leader, as a QB, you go out in that first game with that harness and you realize that you're just not working, you should have said, look, I need to get this surgery. Case Keenum, come in, play some games. Maybe some of those close games we actually win because we don't have somebody out there injured. And,
right.
Then he could be back right now. Instead, we have these last 2 divisional games that mean nothing. And I was frustrated. Like, I was watching football all day Sunday following the games and, got knocked out, eliminated. I didn't even really want to watch the game yesterday, but as a Browns fan, I turned it on, and I just got madder and madder as the game went on. Like, it was not worth watching.
Yeah, tomorrow's episode of So What's the Catch, you're going to want to tune in, because I think if we all are in the studio, we're all going to have very strong opinions about it.
Yeah, I think especially one person's going to keep telling us that he was right.
Yes.
But anyways, there's one sound clip that comes to mind.
Oh, no! We suck again!
Yeah, I saw you put that on your Facebook, Josh. And that's definitely how it feels. Oh, no. We suck again.
Great.
This is your home.
So that's about it for this segment. This is an interesting opener, but we're going to go to a break here in just a second. We don't do commercial breaks on this show. If you're new, we play local music. We do one song per break and then come right back at it. When we come back, we're going to be talking U.S. news, and it's been a couple weeks of madness. So, we got COVID to talk about, and there's this situation I'm just reading about where apparently there's like a major highway in Virginia where they've been like stuck since last night.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
That's insane. So I'll have to get into that too. But real quick, we like to end this segment with a personality question. I tried to pick out an easy one for today so we can just kind of blow through it. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? And this was easy for me today. Multiple things. First of all, procrastination. I am a horrible procrastinator, and the more depressed I get or the more like in my emotions I get, the worse I am at it. And ever since like we've graduated school, it's been really bad for me. You've continued to do the extra schooling. I haven't, and I had hoped, there'd be more opportunities than I've found so far. So it's just I've kind of been going through that, and also just energy. I wish I had more energy. ever since I went through like drug addiction and those experiences and getting clean, like I feel like I have no energy anymore ever. I sleep like 10 hours, wake up, and I'm still tired. It's crazy. But those would be the big things for me. Like, that's real obvious for me. So I don't know, Josh, for you, if you could change one thing.
Same with you would be procrastination. I'm really bad about that. Like, I haven't even written the So What's the Catch rundown yet, so I need to do that tonight. But what else? Procrastination's my big thing.
Procrastination.
Yeah.
I think that's for a lot of people, man.
I would agree.
And ever since the pandemic, I think that's brought out the worst in a lot of people when it
Yeah.
comes to their procrastination.
And I guess a little bit of laziness, where it's like, I had a workout routine going,
routine.
and then in the past couple weeks, it's like, nah, I don't want to do it.
Oh, my dude, do I understand that. Of course, we're about to go to break, but I could say so much about this because in prison, I worked out every day. There's nothing else to do. And I lost weight and came out looking good, but I've continued to gain weight and just not do anything since I've been out.
Yeah.
When I first got out, I got a gym membership, and there was a point where I was going to the gym like every other day at least and working out and doing everything. And then right when the pandemic started, that was when I stopped going, and I've just never got back into it. And it's so hard once you stop.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are going to listen to Avarice, Son of Man, and we will be right back to continue venting, because that's what today's show is turning into.
Yes.
But hey, at least you hear us, and we will be
Right back.
You're listening to Split View, and we will be right back.
Here at the Ohio Media School, we offer hands-on coursework taught by broadcasting professionals that will get you ready for a job in the industry. With 7 campuses to choose from, financial aid for those who qualify, a diploma program, and job placement assistance, it's never been easier to get started. Check out the Ohio Media School online at beonair.com for more information or to listen to one of our student-run internet stations. Call 216-242-4342 to set up a tour at our local campus located at 9885 Rockside Road in Valley View. Now's your chance, and remember, at the Ohio Media School, we change lives.
Welcome back to Split View with Kramer and Josh.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Yeah, where we need ya. Yeah, where we need ya. Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hello and welcome back.
Okay, I've heard that song countless times. I did not know that was from, like...
Welcome back, Mr.
Mr.
Cotter.
Cotter.
Yep. As the theme song, it was a 1970s, 80s kind of sitcom. It was John Travolta's first big thing, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, he was a star on the show.
I did not know that.
Yeah, my parents. That's the only reason I know. My parents watched it. But we've said that so many times that I felt like I had to play it.
Fair enough.
And if you can't tell, I figured out how to play clips, and I'm excited. So now I'm
Yeah.
going to be doing that. Okay, we are back here on Split View, and we talk about U.S. news in the second segment after we play fun little sitcom things.
Yes, sitcom-y things.
Sitcom-y things. Speaking of sitcoms, not even, but TV in general. And I'll get to the U.S. news here in just a second, but I left out one of the things I've been doing like nonstop the past couple days. I've been watching prison documentaries, and I don't really. Well, I do know what started this actually. I got on a YouTube video for like a short 10-minute video some dude did when he was in prison, and I came across it and thought it was interesting, and it got me thinking about some stuff. So I looked up like free Ohio prison documentary, and there's hundreds, and I just ended up binging that like the past 3 days. And it's had me in this weird mindset of like, I've been out of prison for like almost 30 months, but it doesn't feel like it sometimes. And sometimes seeing stuff like that reminds me of like how good I do have it out here. Because let me tell you, that sucked.
You were doing that for a while on your YouTube channel, like...
Yeah, telling prison stories and stuff. And it's something I want to get back to. That's kind of, and it's interesting you bring that up. It's another facet of why I was watching it. I've seen a lot of people do cool stuff on YouTube with reaction videos. So something I've thought about doing is taking these documentaries and splitting them up into smaller parts, the parts I find interesting, and reacting to them. So I've had some thoughts on that, too.
Yeah, that could be something good for you to do on your channel.
Yeah, I need something new and interesting, you know? Because it's the same old stuff is just, it's bogging me down.
Gotcha.
One reason I'm really glad I'm not in prison anymore is because of this pandemic. And trust me, there's 100 reasons I'm glad I'm not in prison anymore, but this is one of the highest. Because after this stuff broke, like, it got so much worse to do time. At least when I was in prison, like, I was able to have visits with my girlfriend every week. And I was able to go to commissary and get my stuff when I wanted to. I had freedom to, like, walk to the library in the prison and get books every day because I read a lot in there. After this pandemic hit, all that really stopped. Like, there's barely any visits anymore. Movement's very much controlled because you got to think of the environment. There's like 2,000 dudes all living together in this small little fenced-in area. If one person gets COVID in there, everybody's going to get it.
Right.
So they're freaked out about it.
So, is it true that when you go to prison, you automatically get put in one of those orange, like, jumpsuits that everybody thinks of?
For the first couple hours, that's about it. When you first get there, man, I could talk about this forever, and I'll try to keep it brief, but when you first get there, you go in, and the first things they say to you, strip naked. So that's your introduction to prison. Hello, strip naked, squat and cough. So it's a whole experience. They throw you an orange jumpsuit. You wear that for a couple hours until you get your actual pack up. The prison provides you clothes, uniforms. They're like just blue uniforms, pants and a shirt.
Oh, so they're not those typical
No.
crazy black and white stripes.
You see those in the county jails. I don't know why, but people wear those in county jails. In prison, you can have, your uniform, and you only have to wear that uniform when you leave to go to the library or to the chow hall. If you're in your dorm, you don't even have to wear that, and you can buy white shirts and gym shorts on commissary or jogging pants stuff. They have so much stuff you wouldn't think that people can buy in prison, and the idea being that there are people there who are doing life sentences, so they need something, and they also use it to control people because that's what they take away if you mess up. You break the rules, now you don't get no commissary for 6 months, and people don't want that.
Right. Makes sense.
So all of this thoughts with this pandemic, and I keep going back to when this first started. And do you remember when it was we just need to quarantine for 2 weeks? 2 weeks, and this will go away. Well, we're going into 2022, and it's definitely not going away.
Yeah, Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, Happy New Year. I guess we did Happy Christmas, too. Merry Hanukkah. I don't know.
Wait, okay, that brings me to something. I posted about this on my Facebook the other day, and Brian Fraley and I got into a whole weird discussion on
I missed this,
in
so
the
clue me in.
comments about Guy Fieri. But now that the holiday season is over, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, and New Year's, what's the next major U.S. holiday? Is it Valentine's Day? Is it...
Oh, I did see you post this question. I just didn't read the comments, but I have an answer. For me, it would be St. Patty's Day, St. Patrick's Day. Valentine's Day obviously comes in between those, but it's not. Valentine's Day to me is a Hallmark holiday. The card companies pretty much invented it. And if you're not in a relationship, what does that day mean to you?
It means nothing. Or if you break up with your girlfriend on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, if anything, it's just a day that makes a lot of people depressed.
Yeah.
And the people that are in relationships, it's just another day you have to remember and try to do something special, and it causes fights if you don't. There's nothing good about Valentine's Day.
Apparently there's another version of Valentine's Day in October. I think it's called
Sweetest Day. Yes, sir.
I didn't even know about Sweetest Day until my most recent relationship.
Yeah, it's actually an Ohio specific thing, I'm pretty sure. I'll look this up now. But yeah, I didn't find out about it for the longest time either.
So, in your opinion, you would say St. Patrick's Day is the next major, holiday?
Yeah, and the Sweetest Day, I just looked this up, it's only celebrated on the northeastern United States, Ohio, West Virginia, Florida, and a line down. It's really weird that only these few states celebrate that one. But yes, for me, St. Patrick's Day would be the next biggest.
Okay. I would probably have to agree with you on that one because, yeah, I agree. Valentine's Day doesn't seem like a very big thing.
It's not for everybody,
Right. I mean, I'm Jewish, so I'm sure there's Jewish holidays coming up that I could probably mention, like Purim or something, Passover. But, not everybody celebrates the Jewish holidays because, obviously, not everybody is Jewish. I understand that.
Wait. Not everybody's Jewish?
What is this?
You didn't tell me this, Josh.
What is this concept? I thought everybody in the world was Jewish. Mind blown.
Yep. 4:12 on a Tuesday. My mind has been officially blown. Anyways, we got way off on a tangent there.
But it was fun.
It was fun. But what I was leading all this to was Biden came out today and gave one of his, predictably dour, be scared kind of press conferences. The exact thing he said was, Biden said this to the vaccinated people out there. You are highly protected. Biden to the people that are unvaccinated. Be alarmed.
Whoa, I'm so scared.
Yeah, it's almost comical to me because the people who don't get vaccines at this point and don't want vaccines, like, they're not listening to Joe Biden. It doesn't matter what Joe Biden says or what anybody says or does. Certain people just aren't going to get the stupid thing unless they're forced to.
Right. Speaking of Joe Biden, is it true that his ratings are, like, down in the dumps?
Oh, yeah, they're some of the lowest ratings we've ever had for a president. Last I looked, and this was a couple months ago still, his was in, like, the 30s, and Kamala, the vice president, was, like, in the 20s. She was even lower.
So, I guess it's a good thing she didn't end up getting the Democratic, what's the word?
Oh, the primary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nomination. Yeah, but still, it's a weird thought because Joe Biden is, I don't even know how old, but he's an older dude, up in his 80s, I would think, at least 70s. And if he passes, Kamala's president.
Yeah. Here's the weird part about this whole thing, and I'll just say this. In terms of the primary, I didn't necessarily want, like, Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders because I feel like they can connect with, like, people older, like maybe in their 50s and up. I think that's a good age range.
That's fair.
But by the same token, I feel like there's a generational gap, if you will.
Oh, there's a huge generational gap.
Yeah, that's why I was hoping, like, some of the younger candidates who would be able to connect with your generation or my generation would somehow be able to get the nomination, and then they could, like, speak our language, if you will.
No, you make a really good point because there's, like, this huge gap, and what it creates is there's, like, apathy. People who are younger, our generation, as you say, like 20s, 30-year-olds at this point, they do not care. They don't want to vote. Most of them don't vote because...
Which is very sad.
And it's because of exactly why you mentioned. It's a 70-year-old guy versus another 70-year-old guy, and the stuff they're talking about doesn't relate to them, and they're not experiencing the same things a rich old white guy experienced, so they don't connect. There's no connection there. And there are some younger politicians, like AOC is one, and there's some other ones, Cortez. I can't think of full names at the moment, but...
Don't worry about it.
There are people who are coming up, and you hope that eventually, like, after the next 10, 20 years, like, the dinosaurs, these older politicians like Joe Biden who have been around forever, I mean, I hate to say it, but they're going to pass on. You know, their generation is going into the great moonlight while we come up, you know, so eventually... Hopefully this will change.
Right. I understand that, and that's exactly what I was saying. Like, it's kind of ridiculous that, like...
Oh, it's the reason that marijuana is still illegal. Because most 20 or 30-year-olds, even if they don't smoke it, think that it should be legal. Or be medicinal or something like that. But because there's so many, 70 and 80-year-olds in office, and because 70, 60, 80-year-olds, those are the people who vote, and they vote in groups, and then pretty much anything they want, they can get passed.
Right. And with that, it's like, these 70 and 80-year-olds, and I guess even the 60-year-olds, if you want to throw them in, they're trying to influence us into how we should think. Like, so, for example, maybe you think marijuana should be legalized. I don't know if you do or not.
Oh, I definitely do. But
okay. In my opinion, I would like to keep it illegal, but that's a different direct discussion for a different day. My overall point, though, is like, you have these older politicians, like you said, maybe they're going to influence you to be like, I guess, backtrack, if you will.
Yeah, they definitely try to influence, and they also have a lot more power. They have money, first of all. Most, people of that age finally have some money. They're in their retirement age. And they vote because they don't have a whole lot else to do. Like, a lot of them are retired. Their family's growing up. So they go and vote. They can go stand in line for 3-4 hours, and it's not an issue. A lot of young people, like, they're working, they have stuff going on. Why do they want to vote?
Right. They want to, like, be with their friends and go to parties and, like, go to sporting events and other things like that.
Yeah, I think the key word is apathy. They're very apathetic to it.
Yeah.
Well, we have already gone over, and we never got to these other stories. It's fine. We got into some cool stuff. But when we come back, I'm going to try to finish off on some U.S. news, and we'll get back into the local news. because there is a bunch of stuff that's been going on since the past 3 weeks we've been not on the air. So
again, we apologize for that.
Hey, stuff happened. It was a holiday break, right?
Yes.
A holiday COVID break.
Yes.
Anyways, coming back, we're going to talk about those motorists who were stranded, and also there's a Powerball that is all the way up to $575 million. I want you to think in the commercial break, Josh, if you had that kind of money, if you hit on that, what would you do with it? And we will be
right back.
You're listening to Split View, and we will be right back.
Mainstream radio sucks. We're not mainstream radio. You're listening to NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with you.
Welcome back to Split View with Kramer and Josh.
Hello, and welcome back.
Mr. Carter.
Yeah, I'm not playing the theme song this time.
That's all right.
It took too long. So we are back, and speaking of going on too long, we went over a little bit. We need to do some catch up.
But it was a great discussion we had.
It was one of our better ones.
Yeah.
But this story, I haven't heard about this till I just looked it up for stories, and I found it kind of interesting. Motorists are still stranded on a major highway in Virginia, which isn't too far from us here in Ohio. But numerous vehicles still stranded this afternoon on I-95 in eastern Virginia, and some have been there since Monday because of a severe winter storm, and it just has them totally stuck there. Have you ever been stuck in a really bad traffic jam?
Oh, yes.
Tell me about your worst traffic jam experience.
Oh, geez, it was part of the Father's Day from, can I say the H word on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You are approved.
Okay, it was the Father's Day from hell. We went out on our family boat, and then while we were out there, the boat started smoking, so we had to call the rescue team. I forget what it's called.
I'm not sure, but the Coast Guard maybe?
Yes, Coast Guard.
But still, that would be terrifying.
Yes. Luckily, our family friends were out there, so they were able to come pick us up. And then a torrential downpour started. So my dad was still out on the boat being towed back in. My mom and I were in the car, caught in this torrential downpour. And then on the way back after leaving the marina, we were caught in a major traffic jam. And
Sounds like, yeah, it really does sound like the Father's Day from hell.
oh my God, it was absolutely the Father's Day from hell.
Yeah, I've been in some bad traffic jams. I've had to sit, and sometimes it sucks because you get stuck right in the middle of it, and there's nothing you can do. I've had to sit for an hour or two before, but I cannot imagine being stuck. I'm sure most of them probably left their cars, or maybe just slept in their cars. Who knows? But good luck to those out there in Virginia dealing with that.
I think one of the people stuck in that traffic jam is Virginia Governor Tim Kaine.
Yeah, I saw a tweet about that. New Year's Day. What did you do for New Year's Day?
New Year's Day, that was January 1st.
Yes, it was. That would have been, I'm not even sure when that was. Was that Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday. I just watched college football.
That's all I did, too. I mean, we ate some sauerkraut. It's kind of our tradition. But other than that, we just watched football. And I would not have realized this had gone on if it wasn't for people reporting it. But over in Pittsburgh, they had an interesting situation that unfolded. On New Year's Day, there was an actual meteor explosion over the city. They say it was as powerful as 30 tons of TNT.
Oh, wow. That would have been a sight to behold.
It would have been scary, and this is honestly one of my biggest fears. I'm not the toughest guy. I've been through some experiences, and I don't fear a whole lot because of it, because of things I've experienced it. But the things I do fear are stuff like this that we would have no control over, and I'm always so worried of this idea of a giant asteroid hitting this planet.
Oh, so what killed the dinosaurs?
Exactly, because it happens, they say that they found out it happens every so often, and it's been hundreds of thousands of years since it's happened. It's we're due, and I don't know if it's going to be hundreds of years from now, because if it's hundreds of years from now, it's not that much of a worry, but it could be tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right.
It's scary. And if I was there in Pittsburgh and saw this happening, that would have been my first thought. Is this the end? Is this it right here?
Yeah, I totally get that.
They said it was an earth-shattering boom and that the explosion felt like the equivalent to 30 tons of TNT. The space agency said that it was a bolide, an extremely bright meteor that explodes in the atmosphere, and that the nearby infrasound station registered the blast wave, and that's how they got that estimate and all that good stuff. Best they could tell, it was coming in at 45,000 miles per hour when it hit.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, they also go on to say that if it hadn't been cloudy that day, the fireball would have been visible, and they said crudely it would have been about 100 times brighter than the moon. So think about looking up and seeing just a huge flash. I would have been terrified.
I would have been my jaw would have been on the floor. I would have been
I would have been asking Jane for a new pair of jeans. Speaking of Jane, she was in a mood with me this morning, man, and I think it's because of this whole electricity thing, but she was in a bad mood today. So join me in saying, Jane, get in a better mood.
Okay, Jane, get in a better mood.
You should be in a better mood if we would hit this $575 million Powerball jackpot. You think that would help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, come at me with that number again?
Yeah, $575 million is where the Powerball is at right now. As no winning tickets were sold last night when it was at $440 million, so the next one goes up to $575. They say that estimated haul, if you actually win it, after you pay taxes and everything, you would go home with about $409 million.
That's always the funny part with me is like, you know, you go on like game shows and stuff and it's like, you're going to win $1 million. And in reality, no, you're not.
No, you're going to lose a big chunk of that.
Yeah.
You always got to factor in that you're going to lose a third of it to the government wants their cut.
So every time I see like, oh, you're going to win this much money, I'm just like, no, you're not.
I've never actually played any of these kind of lotteries. I like scratch-off tickets, and I try not to do them too often because they're a waste of money too. But for like Christmas, we did it. Christmas, Jane bought 2 tickets, and she hit on one of the tickets and got a $50 winning. So we ended up spending that winning on all new tickets. And we had like $50 of tickets to play, scratched them all night, ended up winning like $70 more than we spent. So it was worth it. It was fun. But if you do that long term, you're going to lose. Like eventually you will lose that money.
Right. Yeah.
They always win. So I've never actually played this, but they say a standard ticket costs $2. They can choose to add a power play for another $1, which apparently increases the chance of winning. But they say to win the jackpot, players have to draw 5 numbers plus the Powerball numbers. So think of how like hard that is, how infinital your chances are, and why it's your chances are better. I've heard of like being hit by a lightning bolt than actually winning one of these things.
Yeah, the chances I feel like are slim to none.
They say overall with the Powerball, players have a 1 in 24 chance of winning a prize, but that's just any prize. Like that could be like $10. But they say a 1 in 292,201,338 chance of winning the jackpot.
Wow, I have such great chances.
Hey, you buy 2 of those and you double your chances.
I don't really do like scratch off tickets and stuff. That's not really my thing. Maybe it's because I've just never really been somebody that is big into gambling and stuff. I know that, like, for a lot of people, that's something they enjoy, but, like, I don't like making bets with people, like, hey, I'll bet you $1 of this. It's just never been my thing.
Are you interested at all in sports betting? I mean, if you're not, that's fine.
I mean, I like looking at the Vegas odds and seeing, like, who's favored and who's the underdog type of thing. But other than that, not really.
Because I've never been into gambling either. But when I went to prison on the weekends and there wasn't much to do, we would watch football all day like I do now. But you would want a little action on these games because sometimes you're watching, like, West Virginia versus TCU, and it's like, why do I care about this game? Well, you go and bet on it, you know, and it makes you care about it. And we're talking small stakes. Like, I'd put up like $1 worth of commissary, and maybe I win a couple dollars back. If I lose a couple ramen noodles. Oh, well. But that's the only time I thought, like, gambling was interesting to me. And I could see myself, if I had more money, maybe doing some sports gambling.
Yeah. Like our colleague, Brian Praley, who's on the So What's the Catch team with us and also on my new show, or our new show, The Sports Generals. That's me, Brian, and Jason. Nice little plug there. That's his big thing is sports betting and gambling. That's like his primary thing.
Oh, yeah, I've heard him talk about that a few times. I was just looking at my messages from Jane, and she reminded me something else that's been going on. Our daughter, the one that has our granddaughter, her and her boyfriend tested positive for COVID a couple weeks ago. Or actually, like Lord. 8 days ago. We haven't been in contact with them or anything, so no issue there. But we haven't been able to see our grandbaby. She's been on quarantine in the apartment with them ever since. So
Makes sense.
We haven't had a visit with her in like 8 days, and normally we see her just about every day, so it's driving us both a little crazy. We love that stupid baby.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Pretty much another one of my cousins on my mom's side got engaged on Christmas.
Well, congratulations. I bet a lot of people got engaged over these past couple weeks.
I feel like Christmas is the most popular day to get engaged.
As we were just talking about prison, I got one more story to hit real quick on the local news, and then we'll take a break and come back for our last segment. But this was on the news a couple days ago, and it just really interested me because it brought back memories. A drone carrying marijuana in Richland County. So this is down by Mansfield, and there's multiple prisons in the vicinity of Mansfield. A drone carrying marijuana crashes into a Richland County home. So what this is when you're in prison, there is a black market. There's weed and drugs and tobacco and things you can buy that aren't supposed to be able to buy. They have to get in there somehow, right?
Correct.
They used to get in through visits. People would have their friends bring them in and try to slip them in through visits, which wasn't an easy thing to do because you do get searched on the way in and out. But there's ways to make it work that I'm not going to get into. But
yeah, keep that to...
Yeah, it involves the back area. Say that. But,
okay.
Ever since, all this pandemic stuff has been going on, there's been an increase in stuff like this where people are buying drones and trying to use them to drop contraband into prison yards. And it's been successful at times, but then there's other times like this where you have an idiot who doesn't know how to drive. So they find this thing, and it had a package attached to it that had, I think they said, like 4 ounces of marijuana. On the street, it's roughly like $500 worth of weed. But the thing is, if you take that into prison and sell it the way they sell it in prison, they probably would have made like $5,000 off of it because it costs so much more for a little bit inside there. And that's why they do it. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made. And you'll hear about guards bringing stuff in a lot. When I was in Richland, it was almost a monthly occurrence that you would see a guard being arrested and walked out. And you'd be like, wow, what's going on? Well, they would be caught bringing drugs in. And they do it for the same reason, because there's so much money to be made. And it's a temptation. But I just thought it was interesting to see this. Mansfield homeowner says she thought she heard something hit her house, found a drone next to her home with the package attached. You imagine, what would you do if you came out and just saw a package of weed laying there? Probably the same thing she did, huh?
Yeah,
Call
probably.
Cops. Yeah.
Before we go to a commercial break, I just saw that Browns legend and broadcaster Doug Deacon is announcing his retirement.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I did want to touch on that, and yeah, that's huge. We mentioned the depressing Browns loss yesterday earlier in the show, and this is just more fallout and more depression for me because I love the audio cast they do, Doug Deacon and Jim Donovan, and a lot of times, I would choose to listen to the radio over watching it on TV because of how much I like their broadcast. They are very knowledgeable, and they're tuned in with the city of Cleveland, and Doug Deacon especially. So I wish him the best on his retirement, but man, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
What is your favorite way to watch the Browns?
Either at the stadium or...
All right, other than the stadium.
Okay, then just on my couch.
Oh, so you're a TV guy, or...
Yeah.
That's what I was asking.
You know why I like watching it on the TV is because it's a neutral, or at least it's supposed to be a neutral broadcast.
It is supposed to be, and I get what you're saying. And there's times that there is things you can get from that you can't get from the local broadcast. I kind of like the local broadcast because I want to feel like the people that are broadcasting are on the same side as me. For some reason, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
But I do know what you mean.
Yeah. And it's not like I dislike the local broadcast because I love watching, the Cleveland Cavaliers on Bally Sports.
Oh, they're really good, too.
Because, the Cavs don't ever get ESPN now because they don't have LeBron or any star players, But
you make a good point. Anytime they have a national game with the Browns and you got the national broadcasters, you can start to see how the rest of the country actually thinks and feels about stuff.
Correct.
Other than just how Cleveland thinks.
Yes.
And, man, right now, even across the entire NFL, we're the laughing stock, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, we are going to take this last break, and we will be back with something for the Kramer Files. I'm not exactly sure what yet, but I'll find something. And we'll wrap this whole thing up. So we will be
right back with Shenanigans.
You're listening to Split View, and we will be right back.
Without a product in my
Hi, I'm Rachel.
I'm Jenny.
I'm Andrew.
And we're the Scenic Route.
Stop, don't go there. Wait, don't go that way. I'm always picking up the pieces, cleaning up the mess you made.
You're listening to NorthCoastUnderground.com,
where the underground starts with you.
Welcome back to Split View with Kramer and Josh.
Hello and welcome back to the last segment of today's episode.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah, of Split View. We will be back next week, hopefully. God willing. And it's time for
The Kramer Files.
Maybe.
If we can get the sound clip.
Welcome to the Kramer Files, where each week we pick a different conspiracy and then tear it apart with our split views. Now, with no further ado, let's get to the Kramer File.
Yes, sir, it is that time, one of the best times of the week, Kramer File time.
Yes.
And for this one, I found a list, because I love lists.
You do.
I found a shorter one this time, because I realized 10 is a bit long.
Okay.
But 6, okay? And this is one interesting to me, because it's 6 common conspiracy theories, okay? And this comes from an Irish newspaper called the Irish Times, but they're talking about the U.S. And the article is telling people, okay, if you're visiting the U.S., these are 6 conspiracy theories that Americans believe and that you should not argue with them. So it's interesting to me. This is how some people from another country look at us and think we think.
Okay, I'm definitely interested in this.
So it's common conspiracies that you will find in America that you should not argue with. Number 1, the Illuminati are the secret rulers of the world. And how many times have we heard this in just about every conspiracy theory?
Isn't it true that, like, the pyramid on top of a dollar bill or whatever on one side of it?
There's sayings that it's like a Masonic or a Illuminati symbol.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Yeah, there's so much to get into this, but the belief that the world is run by this 18th century Bavarian secret society was originally spread as a prank by a group of political parodists in the letters pages of an all things Playboy in the 1960s. They later went on to say they didn't count on some of the readers actually believing it, and since then it has become a bedrock of conspiracy theories.
All right.
So yeah, Playboy. It's Playboy's fault.
Good Lord. That's all I have to say to that.
Number 2, the 9/11 attacks were an inside job.
Yep, we talked about that one.
Yep, conspiracy theories existing for thousands of years, but the proliferation of them has been on the rise amazingly since the start of the internet, and this was one that was right around from that start. Ever since then, people have been saying the U.S. government either planned in advance or knew in advance this attack was happening. There is like some small crumbs of proof that they might have known some more than they let on in advance, but people believe that like George Bush himself went and did it. And some people you can't argue with about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to... There are certain people I just like, nope, I'm not going to argue that.
Number 3, and this is another one that falls under that. Vaccines make you ill, and the government has covered it up. And this has really brought up steam or picked up steam since the COVID incidents and the vaccinations with those, but it was around way before that, too. People have been anti-vaxxers for years now. One celebrity one I always think of is Jenny McCarthy. She used to be on a show MTV called Singled Out when I was growing up, and I had a crush on her. I thought she was cool. But the point being, like, now she's really anti-vaccine, and she always has been. And to me, it ruined. Like, it makes her look just silly to me.
So, if she auditions for a movie and they say, you have to get the vaccine, she's going to say no.
Yeah, I guess she's not going to be in it, apparently. But anyways, yeah, people think that all these vaccines, and one of the stupidest things, and it's brought up in here too, that I've heard, is people saying that they think it's the MMR vaccine, which everybody has to get, that's the measles, mumps, and rubella you have to get before you go to school, that it's connected to autism. And this is something like that's one of the things that I know Jenny McCarthy actually believes, and why she says she won't get her kids vaccinated. It's been disproven hundreds of times. There's actually a thoroughly debunked paper by Andrew Wakefield that was out in magazines around this time, but there's science to prove that this isn't true, and people still, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. Same with the next one, it does not matter. Number 4, COVID-19 is a cover-up.
For what?
Well, theories include that the virus isn't real, that the illness is caused by radiation from 5G, that it was created in a Chinese lab as a bioweapon, or that COVID vaccines are harmful and or were designed to restructure our DNA. So it's not even like there's one belief, there's 20 different separate beliefs that people think are going on.
I feel like the only one that has some resemblance of truth is the one in the Chinese biolab.
Yeah, I mean, there is some evidence that it was created in a Chinese lab. I think saying that it was created as a weapon is a bit much.
Yeah, that part I don't agree with.
But yeah, I agree with you. But man, people, and that happens a lot with these kind of conspiracy theories, where there'll be a small bit of truth in it, just a little piece of truth, and they use that to try to bolster the rest of their crap that makes no sense.
Exactly.
Next up, number 5, a group of high-ranking U.S. politicians, officials, and Hollywood celebrities were Satan-worshipping pedophilia cannibals plotting against Donald Trump, a.k.a. the QAnon theory.
Oh, good Lord. Hey, we're coming up on the January 6th anniversary, I guess?
Yeah, I guess you could say it's an anniversary of sorts. And it's crazy to me to think that was only a year ago. It honestly feels like it's been a couple years, but that was just 1 year ago.
I don't know if it's right to call it an anniversary, though.
I mean, the same as you look at Pearl Harbor's anniversary.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about that.
Yeah, it's just weird to call a tragic event like that.
More like a Memorial Day than a...
Yeah.
It
feels more... It doesn't feel right to say anniversary.
Well, anyways, this particular conspiracy theory has been going forever. And even since Biden's been in office for a year now, they've continued to say, every couple months, oh, the storm's coming.
As you just
I just smacked my microphone out of it.
What did your microphone do to you?
It's part of the storm, baby.
Okay.
But many of the Capitol rioters still to this day believe that Donald Trump will be president. Any day now, he's going to come back and be president. So, yeah, there's that.
All right.
And number 6, last but not least, let me say 2 words and see if you can guess what this one is. Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
What does he believe?
Flat Earth.
Yep, the world is flat. This is an old one, man. Been around forever. And the thought that the Earth is secretly flat, this conspiracy theory kind of seems a little silly. It might even seem harmless. But the problem is people believe this, really believe it. And it's a detachment from reality kind of thing where it's once they start believing this, that's when they go on to believing that, celebrities are Satanists and Donald Trump is God. And it starts with stuff like this.
Correct. There's so much I could say about Kyrie Irving and that whole situation with the Brooklyn Nets, but
it's a sports situation. But just to wrap this up real quick, because it is strange. He was a Cleveland guy, and he helped us win the championship here. And then went to the Celtics, and since then it's been he's become a media spectacle.
But in the complete wrong way.
In the complete wrong way. And in this season, what it was he's refusing to get the vaccine.
Yep.
And because of that, there's places he can't play.
Correct.
So the team benched him, right?
So the whole thing is, since he refused to get the vaccine, he was not allowed to play in New York. And being that he plays in Brooklyn, that means he can't play home games. So the Brooklyn Nets say, okay, well, you're just not allowed to play at all.
And I think that makes sense because it's screwing up the function of the team.
Yes. However, recently, the Nets kind of took the coward approach, if you will, and said, oh, wait, actually, no, Kyrie, you can play in road games now.
And my whole thought with that is, we talked about this before the season even started, and I don't understand why they would do that. Because there's a dynamic that gets built within a team. There's relationships that get built every game you play. You're starting to see it with the Cavs because they're starting to build it. You know, they're getting some wins and they're getting that young team together. And I feel like if you have somebody coming in and out of the rotation like that every other game, it's just going to be a mess.
Right. And the Nets still have to play 2 games at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks, so Kyrie won't be able to play in those 2 games. And they still have another game up north in Toronto. He won't be able to play in that.
Well, Kyrie Irving, the face of the world is flat conspiracy, and now also a vaccine conspirator himself. Yeah, that's his story.
Yes.
Sad, really, because he is a great basketball player, but I don't think he's all there mentally.
Correct. Same with Antonio Brown, but we can.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, there's so much. I could go on for another hour actually, but join us tomorrow on So What's the Catch?
You know, we'll figure it out whether it's on YouTube or.
Man, there has been a crazy couple weeks of sports news.
Yes.
Okay, that's it for today's Split View. Hopefully, we'll be back next week around the same time. Definitely check out the new YouTube channel. Get the link on our Facebook page. Keyword Split View 216, all lowercase. Josh, you got anything else?
No. Actually, if you want to email the show for any reason, we have a new email address. It is splitview20212, because I wanted to combine 2021 and 2022 together.
I was wondering why those specific numbers.
Yes.
Well, yep, send the email, watch the videos, and we are
out.
You know, it happens so often. I walk down the street and someone 20 or 30 or 40 years old will come up to me and say, "You are Mr. Rogers, aren't you?" And then they tell me about growing up with the neighborhood and how they're passing on to the children they know what they found to be important in our television work, like expressing their feelings through music.
If you came here looking for Dwayne Johnson, that's the wrong kind of rock. NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with you.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn earrings today.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Michaela's got like the best earrings.
Sarah, buckle up.
I wish my name was Michaela.
We're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
It can be tough getting through to kids, but it's your job to make sure they're wearing your seatbelts. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to ditch the car and start rollerblading to work.
I look ridiculous.
You look ridiculous!
You don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your organs on the black market.
Lie back. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, that hurts. You don't need to rent out your apartment to drifters.
I made a fire with the wood in your bedroom.
That's my dresser!
And your closet door.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Friends die from drinking and driving. Friends die from drinking and... Friends don't let friends drive.
This has been a presentation of the Ohio Media School.
Jam, man. Work it. Turn the whole thing up.
NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with you.